Beowulf and NFL players are praised based on the violence that they have in their profession. And our love of the NFL and the love the Danes have of Beowulf is pretty similar because there's both a level of unconditional love. Like, even though Beowulf acted selfish in his last couple of days chasing fool's gold that the dragon had, they still told stories about how great he was, and they even built a tower. Today, even though these characters we have, the people in the NFL, celebrities, even when they have a blemish on their career, it doesn't stop us from praising them. People still listen to Chris Brown, people still watch the NFL, and have forgotten about Terrell Suggs.
We, as a society, look at NFL players like how the Geats looked at Beowulf. We view them very similarly. We look at NFL players as I said, heroes, community leaders. We have military jets fly over stadiums to celebrate the fact that they're about to tackle people for a ball. We have them in shiny uniforms. With how the Geats looked at Beowulf, they followed him wherever he went. They built a monument to him. They gave him money. We view them like how the Geats viewed Beowulf, like heroes that can't do anything wrong, really, until we see out of context that they are pretty violent because of what they do.
Both Beowulf and the NFL players are heroes from the majority's point of view, but and both of them are very violent, but the biggest difference between the two of them is that the Danes loved this violence as a necessity. They lived in times that were very tempestuous and warring, and although we also have a lot of violence and conflict in our times, our love of football is a luxury. We don't love it because we need to love this violence in football. We love it because we enjoy it. We enjoy being entertained by it.
Anglo-Saxon Beowulf and football players nowadays are similar only in the aspects that they're both strong men and viewed upon as heroes. Ethically, they are completely different. Beowulf, for instance, slayed animals and monsters to help the Danes, where football players are slaying each other on the battlefield for happiness of the crowd, and eventually that's going to affect the roles.
Both Beowulf and NFL players are praised by their quote-unquote followers, even though they both did pretty destructive things to others. We and the Danes both idolize them with their fighting and violence. For instance, in Beowulf, the Danes idolize Beowulf because he's a warrior who fights different monsters that sort of threaten the Danes. And the Danes rewarded them with high-end ceremonies and towers and gold and jewelry and all that kind of stuff. And in football, we cheer on the NFL players when they are violent and they tackle their opponents, and we reward them with wearing their merchandise, cheering them on, etc.
Beowulf and our modern-day football players are viewed as society's heroes. They both dramatically influence our lives positively. Praise violence on the field, but off the field it's an awful thing. And Beowulf was glorified in bloody battles, but if he had acted the same in society, he would have been viewed differently. In both situations, it's the same violence in different scenarios, so why do we view them as amazing people when they do these awful things?
They also symbolize the strength and masculinity of our cultures. NFL players, like at halftime and during all of the commercials, there's like truck commercials and beer and all that stuff, and Beowulf is like this big guy that everybody boasts about, and he's like, yeah, I've killed more monsters than you've seen in your life. They also expect people to turn off the violence. I mean, Beowulf, if he was just as violent around the Danes, like, it would be a different story, and we expect the same thing from NFL people. Also, they're happy that there's somebody to do it for them, because Hrothgar was so happy that Beowulf showed up, and we're so glad that we get to watch people beat other people up, because we don't get to do it.